So, there are a lot of news reports today saying the United States has the 10th most powerful passport in the world. And I'm going to go with this as a technically correct. But the problem with the way Henley reports 10th is there are a couple problems with this 10th ranking. We're actually far lower than 10th. If you look at their ranking here on their PDF, you'll find that Singapore is number 1, 193, good for them. Then you have Japan and South Korea at 2, both tied at 2, and then Denmark is 3. Denmark should be 4 because there are 3 passports stronger than Denmark. So in reality, we are doing far worse than 10th. Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So we're tied at 34. We're tied with Iceland and Lithuania. That's the 34th most powerful passport in the world because there are 33 passports more powerful than ours. That is a more accurate way to say it. So we're 34th by this ranking. But then if you look at the way they rank it, is a little strange because the way I'm looking at this is that I'm going to come back to that. The problem here is that if I have a e-visa or freedom of movement, Henley is saying that those are equivalent. Anything short of having to go to the embassy to get a visa and pay for it is considered a visa by them. Anything less than that is considered visa free. So if you need to get an e-visa, like a Luxembourger coming to America, you are counted as visa free, even though that's not actually correct, because you still need to get an e-visa, even though it's called ESTA or whatever. It's the basic idea. If I have to pay money and I have to do all this stuff, then in my view, that's not the same as being a German traveling to Croatia without having to even have my passport checked. Those are not the same thing. And unfortunately, this ranking counts them as the same thing. So there's this wonderful map. I don't know who made this, but it is truly one of the best websites. If you want to know about passport strength, it has a cool map here, very nifty. But they also have data that you can also look at their data because everything is open source. And it's a GPL license, so I stole their information while giving accreditation to them, which is what I'm doing right now. And in here, what you will find is that they have this JSON file, which gives a score for each passport and each location. What is the visa policy towards that place? Oh no, this is what does an American need to travel to these countries. Point is, it gives you a ranking, where as it shows you here, 15 is visa required. That is as bad as it gets. And then 0 is home country, no restrictions. Visa-free freedom of movement is number 6. And funny enough, there are some rankings above that. But as you see, let me go back to a German passport. So there are various reasons for different rankings. But essentially, I'm saying, well, I could make a basic, yes, I know it's ordinal data, and I know this isn't the best method, but I'm arguing that it is a better method than what Henley uses. If I were to sum all of the requirements for this passport into one, I could get basically the country with the lowest score would be the most powerful passport. So I've done that. And the most powerful passport in the world, based on this information, based on their data set, is France. With a visa score of 1795, it is the only country with a score under 1800. And they have, of course, freedom of movement to a whole bunch of countries. So let's look here. We replace my German passport. I'm not actually German. I don't actually have German citizenship with a French passport. And you find that because they have all these territories, France gets a boost from that. Works for me. no problem. Um, and there you go. So that shows you the um, power, and that's home country and all of that stuff. So that tells you France has the most powerful passport. Arguably, it's not ideal. I could, take out places like Hong Kong because it's technically not part of China, because it's technically in China. But if I do that, maybe I should take out Saint Pierre and Miquelon because it's part of France, but they have different visa policies. It gets messy. So if you have a different visa policy, you get a score for that. Because of France's colonies, it is the most powerful country. Then you end up with Denmark, Italy, Germany, Spain, and the number keeps going up. Denmark's very high, which I think is very interesting. But then you essentially find your most powerful passports then are necessarily European Union or Schengen. Ireland's interesting, even though the Irish passport is the only passport which gives you the freedom to live and work in the United Kingdom and the European Union. It's still the 12th, because we have off by one error here. Start counting 0 in Python. Ireland's the 12th most powerful passport in the world, even though it is the only nationality which gives you the inherent right to live and work in the European Union and the United Kingdom. So I think that is interesting. Keep scrolling down here, and you find all of your most powerful passports are European Union and or Schengen area. That is unsurprising because they give you freedom to live in the rest. And then you get all of your EU countries down to Bulgaria, EU Schengen countries. Your next most powerful passport is Singapore. Interesting. What's going on with Singapore? So Singapore, if you have a Singaporean passport, good for you. Oh, there is an error here. They don't need a visa to go to the UK. But it's good enough. It's accurate enough for our purposes. Singapore, you almost never will need a visa. Of course, Venezuela will be that way, and Algeria. But, you even can go to Iran without a visa. That's pretty nifty. You can go to Iran and Israel and Germany. It's a very good passport to have. This is, of course, before the European Union implements their e-visa. But Singapore is the next, then the United States, go America. We're the second most powerful passport outside of the European Union and Schengen area, though, of course, that puts us at ranking 33, which I think is still close to what Henley says. So there isn't too much of a difference, but I like this because it gives us more information. But also what's interesting, Singapore is at 193, but given that Singapore doesn't have the right to live and work in the European Union or the Schengen area, Singapore ends up being less powerful than any European Union or Schengen passport. So I think that's very interesting. Keep going down further, and basically those are your countries you expect. Countries that are wealthy and democratic. So, yeah, that keeps going and being interesting, in my opinion. You have your wealthy democratic countries. You have your South American countries because of Mercosur, so that makes sense. Mercosur and USAN. Andorra has not joined Schengen, so they're ranked down next to Brazil. Still a good passport to have. Don't doubt me. Don't doubt that. But still, it will be more powerful soon. Israel doesn't need a lot of places for visas, but given that there are a lot of places where their passport is banned, that is going to necessarily, interesting enough, this doesn't have a lower ranking for that. So it probably is overrated because it's not ranked under 15 for the countries where they're not allowed to enter. Caribbean has a similar agreement. So essentially, if you want to have a more powerful passport by this ranking, the best thing you can do is join an open border treaty. That is the biggest hack you can do to strengthen your passport. Mexico has a pretty powerful passport according to this ranking, so I think that's in. Most Americans might not expect that because there's a lot of anti-Mexican media here, and things keep going. But you see, Mexico is an interesting country. But if we scroll all the way to the bottom, we're still finding like these passports are still pretty good. Like America has a score of the USA 1986, Canada is 2008. I think the fact that we can live in three countries in Oceania boosts our passport up. So cool. And if we keep going down, there are a lot of countries in the 2000s. Like here you have Georgia next to Russia, which is kind of funny, since they're so different. But actually, Georgia should probably be higher because they have visa-free access to the European Union. I might need to refresh my data. And you scroll down, a lot of these countries, most of them are pretty decent, pretty democratic, and middle income. So a lot of middle income countries around the middle. And you keep going down. You start getting, well, if you look at your very weak passports, don't be Syrian or Afghan or Palestinian. Those are, as you see, they score poorly on every world governance indicator and they have low GDP per capita, which is unsurprising. Bangladesh, So this tells me, if you want to strengthen your passport, what you want to do, improve your economy and improve your quality of government, and those are the countries which have the strongest passports. Get to the point where your government is trusted enough by others to allow your citizens to freely travel, improve your economy, which will reduce visa overstays, and that's how you get a better passport. The data tells that to me, and I think this probably is the best ranking for passport strength, and I like it. So I hope this was informative, and I hope this helps convince you about why open border treaties are the best, and why you should do those because they give you more freedom. Thank you.